definable by reference to 3 planes, each at right angles to the others. But some philosophical people have been asking why 3 dimensions particularly, why not another direction at right angles to the other 3, and have even tried to construct a 4-dimension geometry. Professor Simon Newcomb was expounding this to the New York Mathematical Society only a month or so ago. You know how, on a flat surface which has only 2 dimensions, we can represent a figure of a 3-dimensional solid, and similarly, they think that by models of 3 dimensions they could represent one of 4 if they could master the perspective of the thing. See? I think so, murmured the provincial mayor, and knitting his brows, he lapsed into an introspective state, his lips moving as one who repeats mystic words. Yes, I think I see it now, he said after some time, brightening in a quite transitory manner. One may call length, breadth and thickness, and is always definable by reference to 3 planes, each at right angles to the others. But some philosophical people have been asking why 3 dimensions particularly, why not have another direction at right angles to the other 3, and have even tried to construct a 4-dimension geometry. Professor Simon Newcomb was expounding this to the New York Mathematical Society only a month or so ago. You know how a flat surface which has only 2 dimensions, we can represent a figure of a 3-dimensional solid, and similarly, they think that by models of 3 dimensions they could represent one of 4 if they could master the perspective of the thing. See? Well, I do not mind telling you, I have been at work upon this geometry of 4 dimensions for some time. Some of my results are curious. For instance, here is a portrait of a man at 8 years old, and another at 15, another at 17, another at 23, and so on. All these are evidently sections, as it were, 3-dimensional representations of his 4th dimension being, which is a fixed and unaltered thing. Scientific people, proceeded the time-traveller after the pause required for the proper assimilation of this, know very well that time is only a kind of space. Here is a popular scientific diagram, a weather record. This line I trace with my finger shows the movement of the barometer. Yesterday it was so high, yesterday night it fell, then this morning it rose again, and so gently upward to here. Surely the mercury did not trace this line in any of the dimensions of space generally recognized, but certainly it traced such a line, and that line, therefore, we must conclude was along the time dimension. But, said the medical man, staring hard at a coal in the fire, if time is really only a 4th dimension of space, why is it, and why has it always been regarded as something different? And why cannot we move in time as we move about in the other dimensions of space? The time-traveller smiled. Are you sure we can move freely in space? Right and left we can go, backward and forward freely. And men always have done so. I admit we move freely in 2 dimensions, but how about up and down? Gravitation limits us there. Not exactly, said the medical man. There are balloons. But before the balloons, save for spasmodic jumping and the inequalities of the surface, man had no freedom of vertical movement. Still they could move a little up and down, said the medical man. Easier, far easier down than up. And you cannot move at all in time, and you cannot get away from the present moment. My dear sir, that is just where you are wrong. That is just where the whole world has gone wrong. We are always getting away from the present movement. Our mental existences, which are immaterial and have no dimensions, are passing down the time dimension with a uniform velocity from the cradle to the grave, just as we should travel down if we begin our existence 50 miles above the Earth's surface. But the great difficulty in this, interrupted psychologist, you can move in all directions of space, but you cannot move about in time. That is the germ of my great discovery, but you are wrong to say that we cannot move about in time. For instance, if I am recalling an incident very vividly, I go back to the instant of its occurrence. I become absent-minded, as you say. I jump back for a moment. Of course we have no means of staying back for any length of time, any more than a savage or an animal has of staying 6 feet above the ground. But a civilized man is better off than the savage in this respect. He can go up against gravitation in a balloon. And why should he not hope that ultimately he may be able to stop or accelerate his drift along the time dimension, or even turn about and travel the other way? Oh, this, began Philby.